Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Challenge podcast. This is episode 8, and today we'll be doing a Game Week 5 review and Game Week 6 preview. I'm joined by my regular co-host, Leighton. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Challen?
I'm doing good. We're recording slightly earlier today, which is quite convenient because you're currently on holiday. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a holiday called Chuseok in Korea, which is similar to a Thanksgiving.
It's a very family holiday, right?
Yeah, so usually during this holiday, Korean families just cook food, play games with each other, and don't work. Like
Sounds like a
Thanksgiving.
great time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So if any Korean people are watching, Chuseok 잘 보내세요. And Chuseok 잘 보내세요 to you as well, Challen.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Korean Thanksgiving. We don't have that in South
You
Africa in general.
You can say it in Korean, though, right? Can you remember?
Honestly, I don't think I never ever
Come on,
did. I knew the word Chuseok, but I never said it.
Yeah.
That whole
You can say
sentence.
추석 잘 보내세요.
Is it ponhe? Seo?
Yeah, 보내세요. Like,
Oh,
have a good 추석.
Chuseok ponhe seo?
잘 보내세요.
Chuseok chal ponhe seo?
Pretty good. Son Heung-min would be impressed.
He better be. And speaking of, he played again this weekend, and we'll be talking about that just now. In today's episode, we'll be talking about Game Week 5, then just have a bit of a discussion about the fixtures this game week. We'll be looking at team and player stats, our usual predictions, and then our plans and captaincy for the next game week. How was your game week, Leighton?
I think it was okay. I think this game week was quite hectic. Obviously, when the game week started, we were not aware that Trent was not going to play. So that was a spanner in the work for some other players. I think for you, Ben Rama, people thought he wasn't going to play. He did play. Yeah, so bit of an interesting game week. I think luckily I captained Salah, so it wasn't too bad. How about yours? Good game week?
I had a good game week. As you said, it was a bit turbulent, but I initially wasn't. We spoke about my potential plans last week, and it was probably going to be Simicast to a Wolves defender. And then as we creep closer to deadline in the final hour or two, I put a Wolves defender in my team and then thought, I still have enough money to potentially get Jota in this team now that Simicast is out. And I really like the look of that midfield because I had Salah, Rafinha, Benrahma, Jota, and Torres in midfield with Lukaku up front, and I still had Trent. I thought, wow, this is a potentially great game week. And then, yeah, as you know, you've mentioned that Trent didn't play. We found out post deadline that Benrahma potentially may not play. And then on Saturday, it actually wasn't that bad at first. Benrahma scored, so that was great. Unexpectedly, Rafinha scored. Dennis was probably my biggest success of the game week because that's the whole reason why I got him weeks ago. Was like I saw this Norwich fixture and I said he is going to score, and he did. So very happy with that. 60 points -4, Simicast and Brownhill to Semedo and Jota. Now I have yellow flags on Ayling and Rafinha, which doesn't look too good. And Trent, hopefully he's better for next weekend. But what are your plans, just off the top of your head, looking at this game week? What do you ended up doing Antonio to Bamford, right, after your wildcard?
Yeah, and that's another shame because I did Antonio to Bamford and then Calvert-Lewin was injured. So in hindsight, if I'd waited a little longer, but I didn't want to because of the price drop at the time, I should have gone Calvert-Lewin to Bamford and kept Antonio in the squad. So I'm not sure, but I'm probably, if depending on Calvert-Lewin's injury, but I think he'll be out for a little bit longer. I'll probably move him on and then just hope Trent comes back into the team. There's no major changes I'm going to make. I'm not going to panic with my Wolves players. They have two good fixtures, probably the last fixtures that they'll be in my team. Yeah, so probably Calvert-Lewin or Saka, because he had a really good couple of fixtures. He got an assist. He didn't do much, so maybe Saka would move on. Or
I was about to bring that up, that your differential on the wild card was Saka, and okay, you may have been a bit unlucky last game week not to get anything, but got an assist this week and he's looking pretty good. We'll look at the recent form just now, but yeah, I think for his price, it's still a good option.
He's good, but with Tottenham coming up, I don't think this Arsenal are reborn or anything. I think they're going to have a bit of a shock.
But I mean, after that, they play Brighton, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Leicester.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think if I have a transfer this week, Calvert-Lewin might be the person possibly to move on. But I'm still not sure, actually. It's still so early in this game. Well, in the preview of game week, I haven't given it as much thought as I should.
You happy that you captain Salah instead of Ronaldo overall?
Yeah, I asked my girlfriend, hey, pick Ronaldo or Salah. And she said, who's Salah? I said, he plays for Liverpool. And she said, Salah. So I picked him. So thanks.
I mean, on another day, Ronaldo would have gotten 2 extra penalties and would have been a hat-trick for him, right? So, lucky.
Yeah, I think it was unlucky. He was unlucky not to get a penalty. I was lucky that Captain Salah. It's a shame he took his shirt off. Why is that a yellow card offense? I genuinely don't understand. What is the problem?
I'm not entirely sure about the rationale behind it. It might be that it's to try and stop players from potentially having messages underneath their shirts. So just in case they do have a message there, they'd rather just sanction you in case. But I mean, if you're...
They should sanction you if you have a message. Like, it's like Evertonians go and eat some grass or something. Like, okay, then you deserve a yellow card. But if it's just Salah's wonderful Egyptian body, who doesn't want to see that after he scored a goal?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, in this day and age where most players are like ripped to shreds and they look amazing, who cares if they take their shirt off? It's
Yeah,
different.
I don't care.
It's different if it was like back in the day when, I don't know, the likes of Steve Bruce or someone like that would take their shirt off and be like, nah.
I mean, Steve Bruce, when he was a player, was a little bit slimmer. Actually, when I was a kid, Ryan Giggs scored a goal. I think it was in the FA Cup final, and he took his shirt off and he was waving it around. I had a nightmare about that. I had a nightmare that he transformed into the little red devil of Manchester United. So maybe someone in FIFA also had that nightmare and was like, just let's ban this. Ryan Giggs has ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, I think they probably just saw Ryan Giggs with a shirt off in general, and they're like, nah, stop.
They're like, no, cut this. Cut it. Get it away.
None of this.
None
okay.
of this.
I'm not sure how many of the games you watched this weekend, but we can speak about the results in general and what caught your eye with regards to goals and assists and players to watch, that kind of thing. Did you watch a few of the games this weekend or not?
I just watched the highlights. I was so busy this weekend, so I just watched highlights. I was always busy playing Nintendo Skyward Sword.
Got to make time for those things, right? Especially on holiday weekends.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I watched the highlights. I was watching the highlights of Liverpool, and I feel like Jota he's like this close to getting a goal and an assist. It's just so frustrating as an owner. And then, as you said, for Ronaldo, I think that one of those was at least a penalty waved away. So that's a shame. So I'm glad I have Ronaldo in my team, because three games played for United, 4 goals. He's doing quite well. Whereas you went Lukaku. You happy with that choice?
Honestly, yes. I wasn't expecting much against Spurs this weekend, but okay, watching that first half, Spurs played really well, and I don't know what Tuchel said to them at halftime, but he made a slight change in midfield, and as soon as that second half started, we destroyed them, honestly. We could have had much more, but on Lukaku, yes, he didn't take too many shots during the game, but I think it's could be targeted defending as well by the opposition. But he was very good at facilitating other attackers, and he played in Werner for one specific one-on-one where we saw that's been memed on Twitter, where he just couldn't
I've
believe
seen
that
it
he was being
everywhere. I can't believe
and
it.
I think he played in Havertz in the first half as well. So again, on another day, he would have had a brace of assists. And I think right at the end of the game, I think 89th minute, I think he was either played in or he had a very good chance at a header, something like that. So one of those things. Either way, Chelsea are looking insanely good, and I feel fine having them, at least one of their players going into this good run of fixtures.
Actually, I remember I kept getting the updates like Chelsea goal, because it's called 3 goals quite quick succession, right? And I thought every time I clicked it to see who scored, I just thought, did Challen get points? Has Lukaku inevitably scored? And every time I saw it was someone else, like, oh, thank God. Oh,
My transfer was either going to be the Wolves defender or a Chelsea defender, and it would have been James. So the fact that James didn't play in the end made it that much better. I was quite relieved, and because of that, I may end up going with a different Chelsea player going forward, which we can talk about a bit later. Did you watch the Leeds Newcastle game by any chance? You have Bamford
no, I
sitting on.
didn't. I didn't. I was just happy that he got some points on the board, to be honest.
Yeah, he got an assist, and Rafinha scored, thankfully. But the big story there, I think, is Leeds' defense is still really bad because of all the injuries, and now they have Luke Ayling injured potentially, and Rafinha is yellow flagged for next game week, so they could be a team to target with West Ham playing them. West Ham.
Damn. Yeah, Leeds are having a little bit of a difficult start to a second season in the Premier League.
Saint Maximin scoring for Newcastle. Again, he's their standout player when Wilson isn't playing. Not someone I'm going to buy anytime soon, but you never know.
He was in many of my drafts when I was first doing this season's drafts. Like, oh, he might be a good player, and he's doing quite well for a poor Newcastle team.
Yep, he is. Brentford Wolves. This result shocked me, and it's one of those things where you know you're going to make a transfer, and you just think, having looked at the form and looking at what everyone's been saying in the week prior to the game, you think this is the standout player. This is the team who you want to get. But Murphy's law is that you get the player and then they go and they lose that game. And that's exactly what happened. Brentford just outplayed them.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think many fantasy football players are targeting Wolves players. Their fixtures have been so good, and just Wolves, they're not clicking. But I do think it's if you have Wolves players in your teams, these fixtures are too good to ignore. Like, I wouldn't pull these players out so suddenly.
It's a weird one because if you compare Leeds and Wolves, because they are the teams with the best fixtures going forward, right? Leeds at least attack and score, but they concede a lot. Whereas Wolves don't often concede much. They attack a lot, but they hardly ever produce. They've scored 2 goals this season, so it's hard to pick the right ones at the moment.
It's that age-old question. Do you go for fixtures, form, players? It's really
Personally, having watched the game, I think Marcel might not be starting the next game. He was utter garbage.
yeah.
So
You
I'm
said
scared.
that. That's another worry.
At least you can potentially bench him. We'll look at your team a bit later. Um, Team that's slightly surprising, but also not. Arsenal, once again, getting a 1-0 win, getting some form going.
Yeah, I don't think it's surprising. I think those 2 games are games you would expect a team like Arsenal to win. That their team value is massive. They're playing teams that don't have. They shouldn't be competing with the likes of Arsenal. So for Arsenal to only win both games 1-0, to me, I think it's quite worrying. Like, people are saying Arsenal have turned a corner, but they're playing the dregs of the league. make Norwich, and just I'm not impressed by Arsenal at all.
I'm not impressed, but I'm happy that they're starting to turn it around, right? This is kind of what Arteta's been known for. Like, he's known for getting those 1-0 wins, but hopefully they can start building on it and take it from there. I still won't buy their players probably, but one thing
It's
that did
funny.
go ahead.
Oh, go on. No, you go.
One thing that did stand out to me was I didn't realize that Ramsdale is 4.5.
Yeah, he's cheap.
Leno is 5, but I had no idea that he was 4.5.
Yeah, but you don't know how long that's going to stay either. We don't know if Ramsdale's going to be the keeper. Seems Arteta doesn't know who either. So that could switch on any day as well. And it's funny you say Arteta's known for 1-0 victories, because other than being Man City's cone boy, putting out the cones for Pep, what is he known for? Playing for Everton?
Well, yeah, I mean more like when he first joined Arsenal, like he wasn't
Yeah.
battering teams every week, so you could often get a 1-0 from him.
But saying that, if I was an Arsenal fan, this is a perfect time to play Tottenham, because Tottenham's form seems to have just dipped completely, and Arsenal got a little bit of confidence. So going into that game, maybe Arsenal fans will feel good. But Harry Kane's inevitably got to score one day, and I think he always scores against Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game.
I'm not. I think it's going to be absolutely boring. It's just going to be terrible, isn't it?
Hopefully not. If Spurs play like they did in the first half against Chelsea, then they should do well, provided that Son and Kane are both fit and they sort themselves out.
It's going to be like Crystal Palace versus West Ham. It's just going to be London's bang average teams.
We spoke a bit about Liverpool. Despite Trent not playing, despite Tsimikas coming in for Robertson, they still smashed a very good Crystal Palace team, and that result flatters Liverpool, I think, or it shows how good they are, because they beat a good Palace side. So, I mean, Palace still look pretty good. They had some very good chances. I'm still a bit bullish on them. I kind of like them.
Yeah, I think Crystal Palace have been quite good this season, but Liverpool look back to their best almost. I mean, once you've got Van Dijk in that defense, Liverpool just seems to really go up a gear. It's as if they trust their defense to do their job. Whilst last season, when Van Dijk was out, looked a lot different. So it would be nice to see Liverpool compete again. It makes the league more interesting, especially with Chelsea, because they just look like they're going to run away.
Yeah, both Chelsea and Liverpool have been really good so far. Like, I think they have the exact same record, yet Chelsea are only top. It's the first time I've heard of that, where I think Chelsea are only top of the league, not even on head-to-head, because in the head-to-head game they drew 1-1, but Chelsea scored at Anfield, so based on that, they're top of the league. They have the same
I've
goal.
heard that. Oh,
They
that's
have the same.
championship. In the championship, they do that.
Yeah, same goals
Yeah.
conceded, same goals scored, same results.
Because in the championship, to get in the playoff place, if they're both of the exact same, like goals scored against, then they go to who scored more goals at which ground. And then if that's the same, I don't know what happens. But yeah, I know that's something they do early in the season.
Pretty insane.
They should just go alphabetical. Be like, C, Chelsea.
I'm assuming eventually they would go to like yellow cards and red cards, right? Like, if you got the least yellow
probably
cards.
that would make sense. You win the league because you got one less yellow card. Lukaku wins you the league. Yeah. And then Liverpool fans would lose their mind because the yellow card would have been Salah taking his shirt off, right?
Yes. And yeah, then they would sell him because of that. And yeah, terrible times. Man City versus Southampton, surprising 0-0 board draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an owner of Livramento, never would I have put him playing as my first bench player. So even though he got 5 points, I'm not ashamed. I'm not embarrassed at all, because I'm pretty sure most people with him in their team would have benched him.
Yeah, I agree with you. He does look very good though as a 4.1 option. Again, I think is it from around game week 8, game week 7 that intended time of a wild card potentially. So their fixtures look very good. So for me, I might end up getting him very soon. Man City though, defensively, looking great. They might not be scoring too many goals, but looking very good defensively at the moment. So I'm eyeing both of their defenses in the medium to long term.
But could you imagine you're Pep and you beg the fans, like, come watch us play, we need a full ground, and then it go get 0-0? That's a great advertisement.
Yeah, frustrating. Although to be fair, yeah, they had some good chances. I watched the highlights yesterday, and Sterling obviously scored that 90th minute disallowed offside VAR goal, um, which I was happy about because obviously I'm not a supporter of theirs. But I think being the fans, they know that they're going to score goals eventually, and they've always been. I don't want to call them plastic fans, but the attendance at their games has never been great.
It's interesting because, I'm from North Wales, and I would often go to Manchester when I was young. And when I'd go to Manchester, I would meet Manchester City fans. And my father's wife's family are all from Manchester, all Manchester City fans. All the Manchester United fans are from the suburbs of Manchester, places like Wilmslow, the rich areas around. And in North Wales, there's a lot of Everton, Liverpool, Manchester United fans. So actually, most people in Manchester I've met are Manchester City fans. So I'd call the United fans the plastic fans because they swapped during the glory years of United. So it's normally, if you
Fair.
meet a real Mancunian, they're a Manchester City fan. Normally.
Normally. Interesting.
Apart
Hopefully
from
they'll
in
go to the
Korea,
game.
where all the students either support Manchester City or Tottenham Hotspur. And when I first come here, I'd be like, why do you support Manchester City? And I'd forgotten that Manchester City were now the big team, right?
Yeah. Teams that aren't big teams though, Norwich and Watford. That's a bit of a dick thing to say, but Norwich and Watford. Uh, Norwich scoring a goal finally, good for them, and Watford outscoring them entirely. Are you tempted by someone like Saar in midfield instead of
Absolutely.
Saka or Traore
Yeah.
scoring a brace?
Yeah. Saar was another person I considered when I was bringing in a cheap midfielder, and I was looking at Saka. I didn't want Benrahma at the time, and I was thinking Saar could be good, but I just wasn't convinced by Watford. I was more convinced by Wolves at the time, but now I think, wow, Saar is a good little player.
He's definitely a good option. I think their next few fixtures are still pretty good. I have Dennis, as I've mentioned. Glad he scored, but I'm not entirely sure what to do with my players overall yet because I have some other issues to potentially sort out. But I think going forward, someone like Saar might be a very good option. Aston
He's
Villa, Everton.
he's he's cheap. He's got some reasonably good fixtures. I think Aston Villa's a good fixture. I just don't know about them at the moment. Everton, yeah, Everton's an okay fixture. And yeah, so I would definitely consider Saar going forward.
Yeah, I guess we have to. He's just scored a brace.
But that's the other problem. I don't want to also just jump on the Saar train because he scored a brace as well.
Yeah, I think you have to combine his current form with the fixtures plus, I guess, the need of your team, right? You don't want to just break your team to get him in. That would be
Yeah,
silly.
exactly.
Brighton versus Leicester. This was quite an entertaining game in the end. The first half, Brighton outplayed them. They were leading 2-0. Leicester comes back with a goal. Then they had a goal disallowed. But Brighton getting the win. Good for them.
Yeah, very good for Brighton. It's nice to see Brighton do well. I like seeing Brighton do well. It's a shame to see Leicester really struggling. It's very odd.
Yeah, I can't make any sense of it at the moment. Once again, I didn't watch the whole game, but I don't think Iheanacho played once again, which he must be injured, surely.
There's
I'll have a look.
something that's not being told to the press and the fans about him.
But good to see that they at least turned it around in the second half. But overall,
Well, it's not really turning it around if you still lose.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think the first goal that Brighton scored was the penalty, and it was a VAR penalty, but could have gone either way, maybe a bit harsh. And so, I mean, it could have gone either way in the end. Let's see. Look at Leicester's lineup. Did Iheanacho play? He came on in the 75th minute for one of the
But
midfielders.
why isn't he? It just seems weird that he's not starting. It feels like you'd want him in your team from the start, no?
I think it's the fact that they've signed quite a few players, so they're trying to blend them in, kind of like Aston Villa. And Aston Villa got a win this weekend against Everton. So it's good to see them on the front foot as well. I'm not going to consider either Leicester or Aston Villa anytime soon. They, much like Arsenal, they kind of need to get that momentum going first.
Yeah, I would agree with
West
that.
West Ham and United, we spoke about Ronaldo and the penalties. Lingard getting the goal against his former team. It was a
Well, his
cracking goal.
former loan team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, the
cracking
team.
goal.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying cracking goal. I was just remembering, like, what a goal. You go.
It was very good. West Ham, though, looking very good. They could have had more. They did well without Antonio, showing that they can cause teams problems. And they're playing Leeds next week, which Leeds don't have a defense, and they're leaking goals. And Antonio's back. I feel very good that I have triple West Ham right now. How do you feel having? Do you have any?
No, I have no West Ham players. I was going to add
Oof.
to what you said and just say West Ham were unlucky. They had a penalty saved right at the end, so it's
Oh
a
yeah, I
shame
forgot
for
about
them.
that.
They didn't get a point. The Hayes saving a penalty. So, how do I feel about not owning West Ham player? It's a little worrying, but I might bring in a West Ham player. So you never know. My options are open. Going back to Antonio is a very easy switch. I don't know if I really want to.
Yeah, I think especially after you've wildcarded, it's very difficult to uh, get off someone after you've just transferred, no, or get back on someone right after you've just transferred them out. It almost feels like you're second guessing yourself and you're not trusting your decision making. But
I mean,
personally,
mine would only be because it was an enforced transfer because of Calvert-Lewin being injured.
yeah, I think had you just waited even a day or two, just until after that Monday Everton Burnley fixture last week, when you saw that DCL wasn't fit, and now he's out until probably October, mid October, then you would have made the opposite decision, as you mentioned. And therefore, this week, if you have no other pressing issues later in the week, wait for all the team news. Tonight and tomorrow, it's League Cup. So we'll see more potentially there. Then I think it's a very easy move, to be honest.
It wouldn't be a move I would feel any regret about, thinking, oh, I took Antonio out, got Bamford in, and then I have to take Calvert-Lewin back out for Antonio, because you could argue it's a wasted transfer, but I didn't know at the time, and I was doing it for my team value. So yeah, it's not something I regret.
That makes sense. But moving forward, let's have a look at some stats. Our usual XGI stats for the defenders. First up, it's the season stats. And again, on top, we have the attacking fullbacks for the major teams. Trent, who didn't play this weekend. Cancelo played very well. Alonso was basically a centre forward for much of the second half. And Ben Mee for Burnley. Random.
Ben Mee does a good job.
He does.
He's a good
I think
defender.
he's a threat from set pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. Reece James, Richie, Semedo is on that list as well. And then further down, we have the villain or hero for some, Simicast, Tierney, and Luke Shaw. But this is the season data. If you want to have a look at more current stuff since the international break finished, last 2 game weeks, top of the list, we have Ben Mee, Semedo, Trent, and Alonso. Marcel is there too. You have him. And bottom of that list, we have Rudiger, Richie, and Cash. Are you looking to buy any of these players or get rid of any of them this week?
The only consideration was going from Semedo from Wolves to Mee from Burnley, just because that price point is quite good for that type of player. Also, looking at Manchester United fixtures going forward, the defense just isn't doing very well. They're leaking goals. So Shaw is possibly someone I would consider getting out for a Chelsea defender. And the Chelsea defender, I'm not sure who to get. So
For me, yeah, like
I think,
you've kind of hit it on the head there with the Chelsea defenders. As much as I like Alonso and he's played all the games so far, but the more games he plays, the more I'm worried about he's going to be rotated soon, unless there's
yeah.
something wrong with Ben Chilwell. Sorry. Therefore, if I were to make a transfer, it's probably going to be for one of the centre backs at the moment, either for City or for Chelsea. Because I know this, like
Yeah.
Ruben Diaz and Rudiger have played 90 minutes in all the games, and they don't have much competition at the moment. So I think they're the safest options for me.
Yeah, if I'm going to Chelsea player, I want a safe option. Manchester City defenders are always too risky.
The wing backs are risky. Centre backs, I
Yeah.
don't mind as much. Like last season, we had John Stones and Ruben Diaz who played the majority of the middle part of the season.
But I think I was screwed over at one point by them. I think it was a double game week. They didn't play both games or something. I thought, wow, great.
Yeah, the first double game week last season, they both played both games, and then that's the one where John Stones got like 21 points or something.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then the second double game week that they had, I think John Stones either played both. One of them didn't play both games, and I think it may have been the one that you transferred in, probably, which is
Yeah, I can't
unfortunate.
remember.
Yeah. Midfielders though, season data, top players, Liverpool again dominating. Mane, Salah, Diogo Jota, mid-price. Even though he's not scoring the goals, he's still there. He's featuring. Gundogan and Grealish from Chelsea, Man City, and then from the mid-price teams, Gallagher and Saar being the talismans of their team. Definitely worth considering, surely.
You know, my coworker always makes a joke that we should have Saha in our team ever since the beginning of this season, and I'm starting to think his jokes are the right way to go.
We don't want Zaha. We want Gallagher, surely. He's cheaper. He's doing more.
Yeah, he is cheaper. Yeah, he's cheaper. A Crystal Palace player.
I think the question will be, do we want Gallagher or Saar or Traore?
Well, as you just experienced, your Manchester City midfielder didn't even play.
Yes.
So he's just put on the bench. So that's not great. It's not good to have a player in your team who might not play and might only play 60 minutes. So I'd definitely be going towards Saar or a Crystal Palace player because they're more likely to get a full game.
I think going forward, that's the whole current issue that a lot of teams have. We have Jota, we have Torres, and the wing backs from Chelsea and City, who've been doing well, but there's no guarantee on their minutes. And we're trying to accommodate having Lukaku and Ronaldo in our teams. So I think for me, it might be better to focus on, as I mentioned, getting like centre backs from the defense, paying a bit more for them. And then instead of having those midfielders like Jota and Torres, maybe get a Salah or Gallagher because I know they'll play. And I can be okay with benching them when I want to because I'll have like 4 or 5 defenders who I know will play for those good defenses.
My only worry is the moment I say I'm going to take Jota out for a player like Sarr, so I can afford Lukaku and Ronaldo in my team. It's the day Jota scores 2 goals, gets an assist, and just absolutely bangs, and Lukaku gets a red card. It's just destiny.
It is. I really hope it doesn't happen, but yeah.
It's going to happen. The moment I click it, it'll be like Jota scores 7 goals.
I think you need to just warn us in advance. As soon as you make that transfer, just tell everyone, hashtag the community, and just tell them, like, guys, I've done it. Don't sell him. Get rid.
I'll get rid of Jota, and don't get rid of him.
Yeah.
Because after game week 7, I feel like Lukaku is essential. So I would prefer to have Lukaku in my team and get rid of Jota soon. He's just not performing.
The other option, though, like if you can't get Lukaku, you could just get 2 Chelsea defenders. One who plays every week and one who's like a rotation risk. So a James and a Rudiger.
Yeah.
Could be a good way to cancel it out, I think. Maybe, potentially.
Possibly. I'd have to have a tinker around, see if I can get to Lukaku in a -4 with Jota saying goodbye.
I think we'll have a look at your team just now.
Yeah. Maybe.
Looking at the forwards, though, where all the talk is about forwards. Season data, Antonio, Ronaldo, Lukaku, and Calvert-Lewin up front, all doing very well. Brentford, Tony, bit of a resurgent this game week, goal and assist. You sold him on your wildcard recently. Many people have as well. Are you happy, or are you okay with having sold him?
I'm okay with having sold him because I brought in Ronaldo. And if I hadn't sold him and I hadn't wildcarded, I wouldn't have Ronaldo. And I think Ronaldo in my team has been really good. You know, he's got 3 goals already. His cost is already 12.7.
Yeah, I noticed that this morning when I was tinkering around a bit. I was like, oh, that's growing quickly.
Exactly, right? So if I didn't have Ronaldo in my team, it's okay for you, Mr. Team Value 115 million. But for the rest of us who have a normal team value, he would be so far out of reach and it would weaken the rest of my team considerably. So I'm so glad that I wildcarded when I did, got him in my team. He's a goal scorer. He's a tap-in merchant. I don't care. He's going to score goals. His value is amazing. Ronaldo.
I'm considering, the whole reason why I was tinkering this morning was looking at a potential wildcard in game week 8 to see if I could get a Ronaldo and Lukaku up front. Using players like Sarr and Gallagher in midfield, and then getting 4 big defenders, or 5 potentially, who I can just rotate in and out. And then play 4-4-2 most weeks. And even with my team value, I could get to Lukaku and then 11.5 as my second striker. Although, to be fair, that included still having Antonio in my team. So if I forced it, I could probably get it. But
see, you can have Antonio, Ronaldo, and Lukaku up front. No normal person can do that challenge.
And keep Trent and Salah.
You're a person of wealth telling the poor, why don't you just buy a Mercedes? Why don't you just work a little harder?
Come on.
just get Antonio, Lukaku, and Ronaldo together.
Yeah, FPL winner right there.
It's really this season is very interesting because when the season started, I think everybody was saying midfield is where the points are coming from. Your striker options were Calvert-Lewin, Antonio, Bamford, and maybe a Tony. But suddenly with Lukaku and Ronaldo, you're looking at the strikers, the forwards being the players that are definitely going to get you points. So that really changes all of our teams as well, which I like.
Yeah, I think initially that would definitely have been the case, but because all the big money players were in midfield, right? Salah, Mane, Sterling, KDB, etc. But then Ronaldo and Lukaku joined, and they're like, what, 11.5, 12.5. So that immediately makes you then decide, okay, well, which option is better, big up front or big in midfield? And I think we're still at the stage where we're trying to find that balance of which is best. And that's why I haven't wildcarded it, because I still don't know which one's best.
Well, I think that there's two players in my mind that are essential, and it's Salah and Lukaku. Lukaku? Ronaldo.
Lukaku?
Lukaku. Just put them together. The greatest player that ever lived, Lukaku.
Yeah, I mean, looking at, you mentioned those two players, and looking at the last two game weeks since the international break, they've both been playing in their teams. XGI, Ronaldo, 3.35, almost double. Aubameyang, who's second, a bit of a surprise there. Tony, Lukaku doing well, and Wolves' new signing, Wang Hee-chan, doing well as well, although he's only scored one goal so far. I wouldn't touch him though. Bamford is there, and lower down the list there's the people like Jesus, Joelinton, people who you're not really considering. Jimenez, very low down too, so I'm quite happy I haven't gone for him, but I still probably won't go for Bamford either this week.
You say you wouldn't touch Hwang Hee-chan, but if there was a way to get Ronaldo and Lukaku in your team and have Hwang Hee-chan on the bench, he's good value.
He
I'd have him as a
is.
bench player.
I think, yeah, in anyone else's team, I agree. But remember, my third striker currently is Dennis. Dennis
Yes.
has currently got good fixtures, and
Yeah.
it's 5.1, I think. So I probably would just keep Dennis and then get Ronaldo. Have I unpaused it? I think I've unpaused it now. Yes, I have.
Are we back?
I think we are. Had a bit of technical issues there. Not too sure what happened, but we are back. We were mentioning, talking about the third striker options, Wang Hee-chan and Dennis. And looking at recent form, though, just to change it up a bit, Arsenal getting better. Is there any love potentially for Aubameyang for people who haven't wildcarded yet?
No. If you're going to stretch your budget to Aubameyang, how much is Aubameyang? 9.9.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's an exception. I think he's an exception. Honestly, don't become an English teacher in Korea. Your English will get worse. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I think he's an amazing player, but for some reason, I just I. Oh.
I've muted myself, but oh, I'm now.
I promise I haven't been in the Arsenal changing rooms. I've seen nothing. Challenge, okay, don't cry. Oh, I think if anyone watches this podcast, it'll be the funniest podcast they've ever watched.
Yeah,
You should clip that and start that. Oh,
all right.
slip of the tongue.
Pookie, considering him by any chance?
The
5.9.
Pookie train. I think Norwich and Pookie is probably an okay option. I personally am not going to consider Pookie at the moment. Although, if I go to another striker from Calvert-Lewin, he could be in the conversation, but not right now.
Yeah, it feels kind of weird at the moment. Like there's an obvious template in a way, but if you don't want to go for that, you're trying to be a bit different. It's hard to not just get Ronaldo, Lukaku, and then try and fill in the blanks because they seem like the most likely to score.
Yeah, I think you want at least one of those players, Lukaku or Ronaldo, in your team. I think if you don't have those players, that's a bit of a problem, especially after game week 7, where Chelsea's fixtures are so good. I would be looking for Lukaku in my team. But when it comes to Ronaldo, I think he's just going to score a lot. So even when he's playing the more difficult teams, if he gets half a chance, he's probably going to take it.
Yeah,
Do we know who's on penalties for Manchester United?
we don't know for sure, but Solskjaer has
Mm.
mentioned that he's had a chat with the players. Personally, I think they might just end up giving it to Ronaldo most of the time, and then he might give like every second or third penalty to Bruno. Who knows? I doubt it, but we'll see. It'll happen soon, without a doubt.
This must be the longest period of time in Manchester United's history where they haven't been awarded a penalty, right?
Yeah, they must think it's a travesty.
Because Manchester United always have penalties, always.
Well, that's until Howard Webb retired, basically.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Howard Webb was like, "What happened? Penalty."
Yeah.
They were like, "We're not even in the box, Howard."
Give it to them. Anyway,
Give it.
looking at fixtures, uh, again, we've mentioned Chelsea having very good fixtures. They have Man City next, but after that, looking amazing. Teams like Leeds, we've mentioned defensively bad, but attacking wise, could be very good. So it's a bit tough to point out whether we should buy them or not. If you do have them, I would say hold. Arsenal, worth considering now, I think. Southampton, I like them for cheap options, and Norwich, I don't rate them at all, still, personally. What about you?
Yeah, I think even now for Chelsea to play Manchester City is probably the perfect time. This Manchester City team doesn't look like it has the bite that it did before, and Chelsea just have a good record against Manchester City. I do the same. I have a Leeds player, Bamford. I'll probably keep him because I think the fixtures are quite good. Arsenal, Saka is definitely someone I'm tempted to keep just because of the fixtures, but also a little bit worried because I don't see Arsenal winning more than 1-0. Southampton, apart from Livramento, I wouldn't really touch them. And then same, Norwich. I don't see Norwich getting many points this season. And Everton, Burnley, I don't see anything but Burnley or Everton winning those games, to be honest. So, yeah, I'd avoid Norwich as well.
I think Norwich could upset the apple cart this week because, I mean, Everton are still without DCL. Richarlison, I don't think, didn't play last weekend. So they're currently playing like Rondon up front. So I think there's a chance for Norwich, but I wouldn't be buying Everton assets either. As for the likes of Brentford at the bottom of the fixtures, Brentford, Villa, City, United. We've mentioned Shaw potentially being out of our teams very soon. This, I think, is their last opportunity for Shaw. I'm going to keep him this week and then probably sell him next. Uh, Ronaldo, you're going to keep him, or you're just going to sell him after this game?
I think Aston Villa, Everton, and Leicester for Ronaldo are not terrible fixtures. Liverpool and Manchester City are a bit of worry, but I don't think I'll sell him. I think I'll keep him in my team.
So therefore, you're either going to keep. You just said you're going to keep Ronaldo. So therefore, you're either going to try and find a way to get Lukaku, or you're not going to get him at all.
I'd probably find a way to get Lukaku, to be honest. I'd prefer to have Lukaku and Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo is as essential as Salah is. So if I try and get Lukaku in my team, I'd find a way. Otherwise, like we discussed before, I would get a different Chelsea player and hope that they get attacking returns alongside Lukaku. That would probably be my go-to.
Okay. Looking at the fixture predictions, let's rapid fire them. I think, did you start last time? I don't remember.
No, I think you started last time. I
Okay,
think we
well,
sorted.
in that case,
Yeah.
let's go. Main event of the weekend, first game up, Chelsea Man City.
I'm going to say Chelsea 2-1.
I am going to say 1-1.
You always go with these boring 1-1 predictions when it's a big game. Come on, it's Chelsea at the bridge.
In an early
2-1.
kickoff. Okay.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Man United. Oh, at the same time, Man United Villa. That's going to suck to watch those games simultaneously. Anyway, Man United Villa. Personally, 2-0. Man United.
I'm going to say 3-1. I think Manchester United will get a good few goals, and I think they will concede as well.
Yeah, in true Luke Shaw form, they will concede in his last game in my team.
Yeah.
Everton Norwich.
I think 2-0 Everton. Even though they don't have Calvert-Lewin, I just think Norwich are not that great. And I think Everton are bounce back.
I think Norwich will go balls to the wall. So 2-2. Leeds West Ham. Another barn burn over game. What do you think?
Why I always go first? 2-1 West Ham.
Antonio on the score sheet?
Yes.
I agree with you on that, actually. 2-1 West Ham. I will say Sofal will get a goal. Antonio will get a goal as well. Benrahma assist for both. Rafinha goal too. Bamford blank. Leicester Burnley. Oh, this is a tough game.
1-1, he will say.
No. I'm leaning towards Leicester, but they're in bad form. But Burnley are playing away. Leicester 1-0.
I'm going to say 1-1.
How dare you? Watford Newcastle.
This is difficult, isn't it? It's at Watford. Watford. This is hard. I'll say 1-0 Watford.
I'm going to go 2-0 Watford. They're
Oof.
pretty good defensively at home, and I think
Yeah.
they'll score. Brentford Liverpool. Ooh, this is going to be the game of the game week in terms of captaincy, because I think many will captain Ronaldo at Villa, but a lot of the people will also captain Salah against Brentford because it's a promoted team. But Brentford have been very good defensively. However, I am still going to back Liverpool and say 2-0.
Yeah. Brentford, they're doing well. Liverpool, they're flying. I'm going to say Liverpool 3-0.
Wow. Southampton Wolves on Sunday. First kickoff. I am going to back Southampton. And I'm going to say it's going to be 1-0.
Yeah, it's annoying. I have two Wolves players in my team. I'm going to back Wolves. I'm going to say they're going to come out biting and fighting, and they're going to win. The mighty Wolves 2-1. Sorry, Livramento.
North London Derby.
Ooh.
Arsenal Spurs at the Emirates.
The winners are the fans. No. At the Emirates. Oh. They're both, well, Arsenal have come up in form, Spurs have come off a little bit. I think Harry Kane and Son Heung-min have to click at some point. So I'm going to be boring and say 1-1.
I don't know. 2-1 Spurs. Off the top of my
At
head.
Highbury? Well, not Highbury. Jesus Christ. The Emirates.
I almost said the same thing earlier.
Yeah, I grew up with them with Dreamcast on their shirts, man.
Yeah.
It looks like Highbury.
Monday Night Football. I'm pretty sure this is a derby game as well, so it'll be pretty fiery. Crystal Palace versus Brighton.
Why is it a derby game? Is it because they both have birds on their crest?
I don't know, but I definitely know it's a derby game. But I'm going, and I think Palace have been beating Brighton for the last like 10 years or something. So I'm going to say Palace. Gallagher and Edouard will score 2-0.
Yeah, I think Palace will beat Brighton at their home ground. So I'm going to say 2-0 Palace.
We agree. Okay,
Yeah,
let's look at our game week teams and see what we're planning to do. For me, I currently have one free transfer and no more money in the bank. And as we head towards the fixture swing in game week 7 and 8, looking at my team, I'm pretty happy overall. Um, I have the yellow flag over Rafinha. If he's going to be out this game week, then so be it. I have a bench of Sofel, Torres, and Ailing also yellow flagged. So I'm probably going to save my transfer this week, and not sure who of Sofel or Torres I'm going to play. Probably Sofel. And my captaincy at the moment is on Salah versus Brentford, but my vice captain is Antonio, so I may well captain him as well. I'm just going to leave it until the end of the week. That way, next game week, I have 2 free transfers. Probably going to try and only use one then, so that I have 2 in game week 7 and 8, or game week 8 for the fixture swing, so that I can potentially avoid the wild card.
What happens if Trent is injured, Rafinha is injured, Ailing is injured in your team? Still no transfers?
Let's say these 2 yellow flags remain the same, they don't play, then Sofa will come in and Torres will come in.
Yeah,
That's it. I'm happy
that's
with
it.
that.
Stick with it.
Yeah, because I think overall it's still a good team. I have Jota, Salah, Benrahma, Antonio, Dennis, Lukaku, Semedo, and Shaw, and they're all fit with decent fixtures.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a very boring game week for me. I don't think I'm going to do anything. Quite happy. What about you?
I'm leaning towards captaining Ronaldo just because it's at home, it's Aston Villa, Old Trafford. I expect Ronaldo to score a goal or two. So probably I might go Ronaldo this week. My concern is Calvert Lewin at the moment. Calvert Lewin on the bench. So he's potentially someone I will take out, but I'm not entirely sure. Saka, I might leave Saka in as well. But otherwise, I think looking at my team and the fixtures, they're quite good.
Are you going to be playing Williams over Livramento this week?
No, I would be playing Livramento.
That's a bit of an awkward one because you have
Hmm.
Livramento at home, but you have 2 Wolves players playing him.
Yeah, it's
It's one of
true.
those
But
things.
I'd still play Livramento.
Okay.
One of those unfortunate things in that case. But yeah, if Trent is injured as well, then if there's news that he definitely won't play, then I probably will take Calvert Lewin out so I can play 3 at the front.
Okay. And your most likely transfer for the third striker would be Antonio, I'm assuming, right?
I'm assuming so at the moment, unless I can somehow find a way to get Lukaku on my team in such a swift move. But I'd probably go Antonio. I see West Ham probably beating Leeds. So yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think you're safe not getting Lukaku this week because they're playing City. So I would probably go Antonio and then perhaps save next week. And then you can have 2 transfers in game week 8, depending on what happens, hopefully.
Yeah. Are you going to go without Ronaldo until your next wild card? You're happy to go without him for a few more weeks?
I'm not going to take a third hit in a row to get him this
No.
week. Basically, that's what it comes down to. I don't mind taking hits, but I don't think I can get him in a straight swap in any event at the moment. So I would have
Yeah.
to take a minus. Either I would have to wildcard this week to get him, and I don't think it's worth wildcarding to have one good fixture and then have United's bad run. So,
And he'll score in every game.
he might, but yeah, the idea is that hopefully the rest of the squad can overall do better than the squad with Ronaldo and a depleted squad, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's nice to see that the template is starting to shift away again. So as teams move away from certain players, some people are keeping them. Bruno is still doing well too, not being spoken about much. Son is not injured anymore. Nobody's got him.
Irfan
Okay.
fell out. What can you
Oh,
do?
okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But yeah, that's our game week. So let's quickly plug some social media and then we can head home. You can follow us on social media on Twitter and Instagram at FanChallenged, on YouTube, Fantasy Challenge, one word. Hit the like, subscribe, all those things. Thoroughly appreciate it. Please do. And if you want to listen to the podcast, you can listen to us everywhere, wherever you listen to them. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever. And that's that. Early podcast is complete. Time to think about plans for the game week. Team news. Wait until team news before you make your transfer, Leighton, please. Well, you made it so early last week.
That was a reason, man. That was budget issues. You might be driving your Mercedes, but I got like a Deo Matiz.
What a car as well. Anyway, I hope your Dehu Matiz does very well for you this game week.
I hope your Mercedes breaks down.
Hopefully not. Okay, good luck,
And your
everyone.
rental car is a Deo Matiz.
We can drag race each other. All right. Have a good game week, and we will see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.